going to. Scott, can you hear me, buddy? All right. We're ready to rock here.
Just remember our entry phones are on that right side, no notifications, they're audible, and no flashes on, okay?
All right, we just got to get the scoreboard up on the screen there. Give me 1 second, everybody. Extremely sorry about the technical difficulties that we had.
I don't know if he can get enough of this to send it up between the 8 and 9 and maybe use the 9 here. He's not acting like it. Yeah, it just doesn't tell us much. Probably looks like he's looking to use the 6. That way he can really exact the cue ball right there where he wants it. But kind of darned if you do, darned if you don't in this position. I don't believe he's going to get this back. That's why he's a little frustrated. Was there anything else he could have done? Well, you've got to be able to see enough of the 2 here to send it up between the 8 and 9, get it to the top rail at least, I would assume.
Yeah, he's got at least half of the ball from what I can see here, Scott.
Is this Lopatka? Doesn't look like him. He's taking the hat off. I was confused. I thought they slipped somebody in on us here.
Yeah, that's actually a really cool story about him, though, Scott. That's pretty sweet. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, you're good. I fully agree. That's absolutely astonishing, but you can see why they put the GoFundMe together. I wish I was part of the GoFundMe. I don't know that he'll need a GoFundMe after this event. Oh, really good hit. I don't know. Camera angle number 6 might tell us. Well, the 3 is on. Can you get to the 2? We really have no information on the podcast.
All we have is GW Billiards as his sponsor, and they created a GoFundMe to send him here. That's it. Victor Zielinski had to translate most of his messages back and forth to me.
Crazy.
Just goes to show, though, Scott, that anybody can jump into the World 9-Ball Tour and make a splash.
That's a really good point. And it's a big splash. It'll be even bigger if he can somehow win this match. I mean, you've got to expect that he doesn't have. Maybe we can get the main view here, and there we go. Yeah, you got to expect he doesn't have like a big tournament experience, but probably played some Euro Tour stuff, I would assume. Did some events over there.
I do like his style. He does play well. 780 Fargo's no slouch.
No, I think that number might be a little low, actually, from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, but I tend to agree on that one.
He just wants the problem here maybe going forward is he's worried about catching a piece of the 9. You can wrap around the upper right tight. You've always got the right side pocket. If you think you can avoid the 9, then there shouldn't be any concerns here. Maybe even a touch of inside will deflect the cue ball or bend it. past the 9. Oh, he had no problem just using an outside ball.
Seems there's a lot of Hubert fans in the chat room right now on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I mean, I don't know that I've ever heard of such a thing, really. When we got the information that they put this GoFundMe together, I don't know of a tournament at this level where anything even of the sort has ever happened. So this is just incredible.
Yeah, the only past year or so, Scott, that I know of any slightly unknown player was when Christopher Tevez made a deep run down in Florida for the River City Open. He wound up coming in third, losing to Jesus Atencio, and then Jesus went on and played Torsten in the finals. Hubert gets out and takes rack number 1 here. Race to 10 in the finals. Hubert is breaking rack number 2.
Yeah, what a splash that is. You hit him real nice. I think you got the kiss. Pretty certain you got a kiss on the cue ball. That's how he's finished low. Yeah, off the red, excuse me, the orange 5. I don't know here. Tricky. If he takes this on to the upper left, he's got traffic to contend with the 7 and 8. I think you've got to gamble, though. I mean, there are a couple of good options defensively. You could shave the 2 towards the middle and use the 5 up top with the cue ball. You just really don't want to make contact with the 8 if you're cutting this to the upper left. That's the biggest concern. And then the side pockets at play if you're trying to go above it. You'd like to be able to hit this with more of an outside ball as well. That's the other issue. Right? The outside ball is going to help the 2. Well, just overcut it. He did avoid the 7 and the 8. That was probably one of the reasons for the miss. Yeah, and Victor Zielinski really needs a good win under his belt. I think we'd all like to see what he can do. He's so talented after a good win. He's been close many, many times. Many times. I don't know how many times he's taken 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. He's put himself in positions over and over. The reality of it is that the weight that you carry when you put yourself in those positions and you can't finish, or you just don't happen to get there for whatever the reason is, it tends to get so heavy. All that would release if he could win this event.
Yeah, I know Victor had some problems with his federation at home and a couple of things like that, Scott, I'm sure you're aware of. So it'd be nice to see him coming out and making a good splash in these tournaments and maybe going home with a little bit of extra cash in his pocket.
Yeah, ironically, I know you know this, obviously, Frank, but it's for these guys, it's really, the money will come down the road. The only thing he wants to think about is winning this event, because it frees him up for the future. And he can kind of get past that monkey that's on his back. He's going to get on the board.
All right, excuse me, Victor ties it up 1-1 here in a race to 10 in the finals. 2026 Super Billiards Expo Diamond Pro event. All right, 1-1 on the score going into rack number 3. Scott, what's been your? I know you've been watching a little bit this week. What has been your favorite thing that you saw so far this week with the event?
Well, I'm not going to lie. I was kind of pulling for Mora, but I also, Feliciano's one heck of a player, and if you get to know him as a person, he's a lot of fun to be around. But I think in general, really, it's just been a tip-top tournament. You said 176 players. That's impressive. This tournament continues to grow. I'd like to see the prize money grow a little bit, to be honest, but everything so far is so great. And this is really going to be hard to stop, Frank. Fortunately for Lopatka, it's alternate break. Because he is breaking the balls as good as anybody right now.
Yeah, it's the one thing about alternate break format is that with the alternate break format, you can't run the packages, so you're always going to have the player that gets the shot back.
Yeah, needs to carry. He's got there. Really good speed, too, staying above the 3. It's ideal. And you just come up to the left side of the table here and eliminate any issues with the 8. You could 2-rail out to the inside of the 8. Yeah, good speed once again. Pace has definitely slowed down a little bit more caution here early in the final. He gets to moving around that table. You just got to wonder at times, and he's going to be all right here. You got to wonder at times how good or bad that is for a player. I refer to Fedor Gorst often about his pace around the table, and it rarely changes. Now, your heart rate's going to change so much within a match, especially when you get to the semis and the finals. Your heart rate's definitely going to change. With that change of heart rate, you want to keep your pace as close to consistent around the table as normal. I think Fedor probably one of the best, and he also gets quick at times. We all do, and that was one of my biggest downfalls. Is I never could keep the pace the same or near the same, and I think that's why the elites are so good. Yap, Aloysius Yap, one of the best at it as well. SVB tends to get a little quicker, but he rides that wave. And it looks like Zielinski's going to continue to ride his wave.
All right. Victor takes a 2-1 lead. Guys, if you can, check out this SVB Generation 2 cue. Just came out this week from Q-Tech. It was on display here at the Super Billiards Expo. You can go to qtech.com or JSQ Sales, the official retailer of the Billiard Sports Network and authorized retailer of Q-Tech cues. All right, we're going to be coming into rack number 4. Hubert Lopatico to break.
Lopatico or Lopatka?
It's been pronounced 3 different ways to me. He said probably Lopatka, so let's go with that one.
Okay, we'll go with that one. I'm sure we'll get corrected in the chat about 20 different ways, but it is what it is.
I can barely speak English good, Scott, let alone another language.
That makes 2 of us, brother. All right, he's got a good one as well. He'd love to be able to get to the bottom rail. And if he can't get to the bottom rail, yeah, he can get to the bottom rail. He's above the 1 here. The 3 is a little tricky. Staying above the 2 once again, I think, is ideal. Maybe he's straighter than I think, the way he's acting. I don't know if a look from camera angle number 6 will help us or not. Well, it does help us, but that's not an ideal angle. He's going to have to work the cue ball a little bit, just a little bit more power maybe to flatten it out, but he's fine. I think it's actually really doable. Yeah, an inside ball. Well done.
All right, Scott, from the chat room here, someone from Poland is saying Łopatko is the way to pronounce it.
Say it one more time.
Łopatko.
Łopatko.
Yes, sir.
I don't believe it. I think they're tricking us. I think they're tricking us. I'm not going for it. I'm not going for it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to call him Hubert.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Mr. Hubert.
Doesn't want to finish on the rail. He's okay here. Really okay here. I like his decision versus going to the right side. He had a lot more room to work with over here instead of going with the side pocket on the right.
Hubert earlier had a very, I guess we'll call it deliberate, almost slightly borderline slow pace. Now he seems to have maybe hit a confident stride and is on an even keel pace, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I actually wonder if he just kind of found himself getting into some type of a rut in that match 2 rounds ago. Oftentimes, once you get out of that match and you look back on it, fortunate to win, whether he was fortunate or not, you look back on it and you say, man, I was actually slowing myself way down. And I think, right out of the gate in his last match, I recognized that he was much quicker. I think he just kind of pulled himself out of that, which tells me a lot about him as well. And that's what great players do, right? They're all apt to falling into that trap. It happens to everybody, but to analyze it real quickly and make the adjustment, it's done him a lot of good.
He has 3 balls left here to get out of this rack.
I'll tell you what else has done him a lot of good, that GoFundMe.
Yeah, I wish I had a GoFundMe to go play pool.
Well, I'm sure they'd really crank one up for you, Franco.
No, they wouldn't. I'd have to give it back to everybody. I'd rather they donate it to actual charity because that's all they'd be doing, giving it to me.
Yeah, this young man right here is flying. He just looks extremely comfortable to be in the finals of a big event, and it's got to be his first final of a real big event. This is not the last we'll see of Łopatko.
All right, we're going to go into racket number 5. And Victor's going to be breaking. It did seem, looking here on the internet, I did seem to be able to pull up a little bit. No. I thought there was maybe something about him on the internet here, but they have him listed on the Pro Billiard Series, showing as 39 years old.
Really?
It looks like he's on the European Pocket Billiard Federation page. It's got some information on him. On the Predator Euro Tour, he finished 65th. On the Predator Spanish Open last year, he ranked number 3. So looks like he's definitely on the Euro Tour.
Yeah, he's attacking here. No question. Big payoff. You know, he had a little steeper angle, I thought. I didn't really feel like he was going into the 8 that heavy. Five plays to both the lower right and lower left. Obviously, the 6 laying in the lower right corner. He's going to have to come around, I believe. Is he considering the right side pocket? I think you've got to go to the upper right corner here.
Yeah, I like the upper right corner too, letting the cue ball come around.
Yeah, a little heavy. I felt like it was pretty natural to just come around and go towards that diamond just below the right side. And he had some concern. You could see it. So the door's been open for Łopatko and a new leader potentially. Crazy. 39 years old. Very rarely do you see a guy that just has a quote unquote great tournament that you've never really heard of or seen before. I'm sure he's a great player where he's from, right? But this is a whole nother level.
Oh, he's definitely rising to the occasion here. I'm starting to become a fan.
Yeah, one thing he doesn't want to fall into is that slower pace, because he was struggling a bit. You see the questions right there. So he's probably in between playing the 4 to the lower left or to the side. I think going back and forth is okay, playing to the side.
Scott, somebody said in the chat, I didn't know Jason Statham played pool.
Big miss there, too. You can see the indecision, right?
Yeah, Victor back up to the table. Victor's having a conversation with the tournament director, Doug Ennis, away from the table.
Yeah, I wonder if it has anything to do with the shot clock. I don't believe that would be the case unless he wants something cleaned off.
You see referee Joe Straussman walking through the arena there to the other side.
It's kind of where I thought Opaka would end up in playing the 3, but he tried to hold for the corner on the 4. I think that's partially due to the deceleration that he had when he missed it. He caught it heavy. Oftentimes that's what will happen when you try to drag the cue ball. One of the cleanest ball strikers in the game, Zielinski, and all the other elite players will tell you the same thing. I mean, it was really a few years ago that the buzz was that they all kind of just were in fear of him and expected him to kind of dominate. It just, to tell you how tough it is, and we all know how tough it is out here, but just did not ever really happen. If he does go on to win this event, I'm pretty apt to see what he does with that win going forward.
All right, and Victor's coming back down for the 9-ball. He'll play the 9-ball in the bottom left corner. And he's going to take the lead here, 3-2 in a race to 10 here at the Super Billiards Expo, the 32nd annual Super Billiards Expo, one of the largest expos in all the country. We'll be starting rack number 6 here momentarily. I want to give a shout out to the tournament staff this week: Doug Ennis, Jordan, Joe Straussman, for running the event and try to make it as smooth as possible for everyone.
Yeah, Doug does a great job. I don't know Joe. Another great break. Just not going to get the result. Wasn't lack of speed either, or power, or contact. Maybe a touch then. Cue ball did get flicked off the top of the 3. But that's kind of what we look at, right, Frank, is the result after the break, the layouts, the spreads, and Zielinski has had real good spreads after the break. Whether he's got to look at the 2 or not, he's had real good spreads. This is where I think that Hubert is going to have his work cut out for him. Interesting going up here. This makes things real tough. Even though you're trying to tie the 4 up, which you didn't do, you're probably getting this back. Unless you can see all the 2. I don't know. If you can see all the 2, it might make a difference. Yeah, and he's returned it. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that push out. I mean, obviously, really emphasizing the tie up on the 4. But he didn't get that done. So now, a bit of a trick. Oh, this is a good hit. Really good hit.
Does Victor have a piece of the 2-ball, Scott, for the back cut?
He does. I don't know if he can make it to the lower right. The problem is cue ball's tracking away from the 3. Just thinking about that rollout. Wapako obviously has played that shot a time or two because it was not near as easy as it looked. I love this decision. Great speed. I mean, you obviously want to cut this just a bit. He's close to the 5. He's got to get up on it. Yeah, hard to get this 2 away, though, with the 6 where it's at. I don't know.
Got a little redirected off the 6.
Very tough to keep a flat ball up and down without putting some type outside on it to help the 2. He's going to get punished for it. Probably going to splash this. Yeah. Not going to get away with it, I don't believe. Well, the way he just addressed the cue ball there, it looks like he's pretty flat on this. Thought he could get to the lower long rail here, below the side. Maybe I'm misreading this. The overhead maybe could tell us a little more. Yeah, he can get below it. But the 8's the problem. Yeah, the 8's the real problem here. And you can't really rip it around with a low ball. The 5's where it's at. I didn't hate the decision. Just didn't quite execute. Might have been better off just drifting the 3 in and doing something on the 4. jailed up here big time.
Yeah, that's a nice shot by Victor. Is the jump option available, Scott? Even if he makes it, though, the 4 and the 7 are tied up.
Yeah, I mean, it is available for a lot of guys. I'm not really familiar with how well he jumps the ball. I don't think he's one of the best that I've seen yet, but it gets him out of trouble. If the 4 doesn't play, it still gets him out of trouble if he could bury this. Notice how elevated he is. Yeah, well done. I don't know if the 4 plays or not, but neither here nor there. Now he can use the 7. Very well done. He needed that elevation because he was so close to the 7. Yeah, hard to tell. I think he acting like he can play this ball. Oh yeah, a big pound there. Yeah, and I think he deserved that. Put a great strike on it.
Everything's in the clear now for Hubert. No obstacles. 5 goes into the bottom corner.
He definitely slowed his pace down a bit.
I think nervousness.
Yeah. I mean, you can fall into that, right? And you don't notice you're doing it, and there's obviously tension. He's in the finals, and I don't say that there's anything really wrong with that. If he, you want to work into your pace. So if you're not 100% comfortable, there's just it's a fine line, right, where you're kind of giving too much attention to it. I'd say he's doing just fine. The GoFundMe, great. Clean.
All right, and Huber gets out. Ties the score up 3-3. In a race to 10. Victor to the table. He's going to be breaking momentarily. Well, Scott, I got to say my favorite members of this week, besides, of course, doing this and being in a box with you, is seeing everybody I only see maybe once a year at the Super Billiards Expo. I believe this is probably the biggest one they've ever had. And I hope that it keeps growing every year. Like you said, I hope the prize funds get a little bit bigger. And if I could just be selfish really quick, shout out to my girls from BSN. Skylar Hess made it to the top 8 in the women's. Unfortunately, was not able to defend her title. And little Ella T, our junior sponsor player, did very well in the juniors events. So we're proud of them. Back to the action here.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's not selfish, Frank. You bust your tail back there, so there's nothing wrong with that, bud. The big break. Very tall, 6'5", I believe. Lanky. Generates a lot of power. Just notice the spreads are quite a bit different. And it's not necessarily the power. He's at 19 mile an hour, which is a quicker cut break, but it's more about his contact and the timing. That's how he's getting these spreads. I mean, he has a look at every ball on the table. I think could make every one of them as well, if it were the one. A little thick there. He did that probably to hold the cue ball. Another stat that I've noticed with him, and I don't want to jinx it, but he has been finishing when he's getting the open looks on the break shot. Well, and of course, he's overrun the mark here, so now he's going to have to run the cue ball around the 8, I would assume.
Pretty wide open here for Victor. Just keep the position line. He should be fine.
Oftentimes you'll see the great players go to that closed bridge when they're drawing the ball, especially with distance, where they need a little bit more power. Victor, quite the opposite. Stays with the open bridge probably about 95 to 97% of the time. And that's just a credit to how clean he strikes the ball. One of the reasons that they use the closed bridge with the power so that the Q-tip does not come out of the hand, because the backhand will tend to tighten upon delivery when you're using a little bit more power, especially with a low ball.
All right, Victor going to take the lead 4-3 here in a race to 10. Guys, check out my man Dave from Florida.
What's up, everybody? This is Dave from Classic Billiards down here in South Florida. We do things a little bit differently here compared to your old pool hall. It doesn't smell like mothballs. It's not exactly a library, and nobody's shushing you like this is church. We're all about having fun, eating chicken wings, drinking beer, and knocking some balls around. Don't let that mistake you. We still got the skills, baby. So if you're ever down in South Florida, come check us out at Classics.
And their motto, wings, beer, and balls. And I'll tell you what, their wings are some of the best wings in the country or in the world, if not that. I don't eat chicken wings, but I did there. Classic
I ate 200 while we were there, Scott.
200. That's a lot. I did eat 20.
I've had every flavor. They are phenomenal.
All right. Little adjustment there. Okay. Different result. Cue ball's low again. I'm pretty sure he got a couple of kisses, at least one. He had a shot just like this, and I don't know if the upper right corner is a threat to the cue ball. I don't even know if he can make it. He buried something similar in his last match. This one, a little bit different. Looks like the upper right corner is potentially at play with a scratch, and I don't know if he can even get to it. Can't thin the edge of it, send it to the top rail and come back down, but he's got to avoid the pink 4. And just watch the lower right corner. Maybe scared of the lower left corner, excuse me. Yeah, last match he edged a 2-ball to try and get the cue ball back down table and caught it pretty thick. It's a very tough hit here. And he's caught this thick as well. This is not his go-to. Might need to practice that one a little bit, Victor. Yeah, he caught that really heavy. Similar result to the same thing he did last match on the 2.
All right, Hubert has the 3 to 4. 5-6 looks like it could be the only slight trouble for him, Scott.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to end up a little steeper than he wants to be on the pink 4 here. I think he's just slightly inside the 3. That's kind of his concern. And then to your point, 5 and 6. So he'd have to beat the 8. He wants to get full enough on the 4 where he can get back. Definitely taking his time, and I get it, completely get it. Oh, he's used all the pocket. He did real well there. So he should get nice on this combination now. You'd like to be below the 5 versus above it. The 8, a big ball now.
Now he's going to play this 4 right into the corner. Like Scott says, come right around a great shot.
Yeah, he could have used another 6 inches down. Then it becomes natural. The reason for the hesitation here is I believe that he's got to kind of play it like a stop ball now. The 5 will go upward a hair. So I don't know. It's hard to tell. Yeah, I think he's looking at the 5 to the left side after the 6. If not, the upper left corner. Little let up there now. Kind of in no man's land because he's going away from the brown 7. That's the problem with that combination. You see it a lot, right? Because you're a little afraid to overhit it and lose the 5. Can he just drift forward, playing this to the upper right and take the steep to the lower right with the 7?
Caught too much of the rail on the way in. Sense a little frustration with him swinging his cue.
Yeah, wasn't even close. And if you noticed that backswing, the timing was clearly off. I think he was in between rolling it and then maybe made that decision last minute to punch it. Neither here nor there. It was fundamentally a breakdown. And maybe a little bit of that inexperience in this position, right? Which, listen, it's obviously understandable. You can really start to get caught up in the moment. And not notice it.
He's eyeing up this one rail kick.
Well, it pays to hit him, Frank.
Oh, just got to have my finger on the button. I thought you were going to say that's good, clean living. I was going to record it for a sound clip.
Well, it was awesome living as well. But this is actually just as tough as what he just did. You get away with something like that. The heart rate definitely up there now. Oftentimes you come with something and the next shot becomes a little more difficult. He needs to settle down and just smooth this in. Yeah, a little movement in the body there. He's all right. He's going to get through it.
All right, Hubert's going to get it out. Tie this game up 4-4. I don't see anybody, unless somebody catches a gear, I don't see anybody running away with this. I think this is going to be a very close matchup. That might go the whole distance. Right, 4-4 on the score.
Yeah, and I like what I just saw right there, the way he thumped the 9 in, maybe just to loosen up a little bit. He didn't take a lot of time, kind of more back to his natural routine.
All right, going into rack number 9. 4-4 here on the score.
Yeah, big time hit there. I'd like to know the speed of that one. It's got to be upwards of 19.
Pretty good guess there, Scott.
1911. It was above 19, though, yeah. He's been hovering right around 19, but one, the way it entered the side there was a little bit quicker than normal for him.
So I will point out here that both players just agreed that Victor can remove the template rack. This is an all ball fouls tournament. While we were in the replay, Hubert did motion to Victor that it is okay to move the ball to remove the rack.
Coming down, trying to get below the 7, or is he just using the 2? I believe he's got this. At least paint. A lot of traffic to contend with, right? With the 6 and 9, you don't want to make contact with those if you're going at the 2. I think you just got to gamble here, though. Try and bury it. That's all he can do. You'd like to. He's acting like he can get in front of the right side. I feel like you'd be better off getting past the side pocket at the top of your screen. Maybe not. Yeah. This has been a miss that was common for him over the last couple of sets he's played. It's always been thin. I think that's better than thick. Call it missing it to the pro side, but missing it in general is not the best thing to do. I think you can just juice this up and go towards the 4. He stays away from the outside ball on these thin cuts, I've recognized. Yeah, I think you've got to consider the upper right corner here. Just drag down. Leave yourself distance on the 4, but play it short if you miss it. Well done.
Good play by Victor. Hubert might have to go to the left side rail.
Yeah, this is triple tough. You just feel like you're always going to double kiss it. Probably not the worst result by any means. This will tell us a lot. Does he take it on? Gary's position, but there is a pretty good safe, right? He can chip the 3. He's just not that type of guy, I don't think. He can chip it to the left long rail and finish the 3 up to the top. Track the cue ball 2 rails behind the 6-9, maybe the 7 as a bonus. He caught it too thick again. He's had some issues edging the ball.
Yeah, Victor doesn't want to keep making these mistakes, Scott. Mr. Hubert looks like he's going to capitalize on them.
He's 0 for 3, really, in that category that I've covered so far today, where, you know, and obviously he probably plays the shot pretty good in the long run. A great player, but I just don't know if things might be getting to him a little bit. He's getting caught up in the moment as well, because both players feeding off one another, both players really starting to slow down, and both players typically are pretty quick from what I know. I know Victor is. And I mean, I think that Hubert's the same, because I've seen him play at a quicker pace, and that's where he's really comfortable. But this is a little painful because you start to fall into this and you don't realize it. That's when the mistakes can come. There's that open bridge with the power and the low ball.
Yeah, he went through that very nicely.
Yeah, you got to take advantage. Upaka when he's in a position to attack like that on the 3. He'll look back at it if he goes on to lose this match. I mean, it's obviously 4-piece right now, but this is where you really learn a lot about yourself, right? And how you kind of change once you get closer to winning an event and how you can correct that. I'm definitely not saying he's going to lose the match. It's something that he can look at afterwards, win or lose.
All right, Victor Zielinski is going to get out of this wreck and take the lead. 5-4 against Mr. Hubert Lopatko. It looks like we're going to go on a player break here. Scott and I are going to take a break for a minute. We'll be back here in a few minutes, folks. Don't go anywhere. We have the conclusion of this match coming right up. All right, guys, we're back from the action here. Coming back to you is my man Freezer.
Yes, sir.
All right, Scott, 5-4. Victor over Hubert. About halfway through here. So what do you think any adjustments players that these two players should make going forward into this match?
I don't know. I mean, I don't mind talking about it. I think that that's what our job is. And during the break, you and I were talking about it. And this is kind of why I think a shot clock is warranted in finals, and Matchroom will usually carry that forward. But it is easy for two players to start to feed off one another. Now, I'm not saying that's happening or going to happen, but you know, it's a big moment for both of these guys, and a shot clock will keep that going. It adds a little element to the pressure. It's good for production. I just hope that they don't feed off of that. I hope we get to see both of them play their game really going forward. Alternate break, Frank, right? That also slows things down just a little bit, which is fine. I don't dislike that format, but I do feel like, you know, it gets a little tough on both the guys because you can feed off of it.
Yeah, definitely, because you can't run packages. It's just I shoot, you shoot. Can't really keep a super long rhythm. Okay, rack 10. Hubert the break, trailing by 1.
Okay, he's made a ball, but the one was short, and he is covered up by the 7 here. Cue ball is finishing low quite a bit. Pretty sure he's got another kiss, you know, off the 9, and he's gone flush into the 9. I've talked about this over and over. Initially, when FSR designed this break or patented it, he came up with it, you know, going into the 9, I think is ideal, or was. I feel like now, if you can beat the 9 above it, just getting into the cue ball a little bit more, I know it introduces the side pockets a bit more, but I think you're coming away with a lot more shots with the cue ball up table versus down here. And we're seeing the opposite oftentimes. So I guess basically what I'm saying is I feel like maybe drawing the cue ball a little bit more on the break shot, we're starting to see some of these guys do that quite a bit more. This is the rollout. He is good at the chip. I don't know if that's what he's taken on, but I think that it is, because the cue ball's pretty free if he hits it thin enough. Yeah, it's not going to get any easier. It's very good, though, with that flat cue ball, meaning like a center high ball when he's cutting extreme. He's very good with it. Problem is now the pink 4, you could cut to the left side. I think you could avoid the 9 as well, but not a lot he can do here. I don't even know where the defensive play begins.
Maybe in the corner, Scott, potentially off the 4. If he's going to go offensive.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an option. I just don't know where you would go with the cue ball. I mean, I think he'd have to go to the left side and maybe just take your chances cutting it to the left side pocket and end up with a cross side bank. He's looking at something behind the 5. I'm trying to understand where he's going here. Can he bank it up and down, kind of like towards the chalk back up there, and swing the cue ball around behind the 6 and 9? maybe even the 4. Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. Does not want to catch a piece of the 9. He kind of got away with it, but he hit it quite well. Pretty good decision there.
Yeah, I like that shot, Scott. Like I said, give me 3 numbers. A little bit of distance for Hubert.
Yeah, I think he's cut off here, to be honest. If not, he can only see the edge. I mean, he'd be thrilled with being able to just 2-rail the 2 back down here towards like the rack spot, maybe draw the cue ball over towards the center diamond up top if he could. That's pretty thin, so I don't know. Jump cue, I don't feel like there's a lot of value to that, to the upper right with where the 3 is at. I don't even know, Frank, if he can see the right side of the 2 here.
I don't think he can, but I think he can get clear basically in the channel, just like he's pointing, maybe like a kick and stick. Or maybe a kick and catch the side of the 2, letting the cue ball roll towards the 5.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. It would be ideal if he could get up in behind the 5. Or you've got to hit this with some speed just to get the 2 down here to a rail. If you catch it full, you can end up with no rail. Yeah.
No rail.
That was always going to be a little bit of the problem. He actually hit it really good.
Going to play the 2 into the corner. Hey, Scott, I'm being asked by one of the people in the chat here, and if you know how Lenny from Off the Rail is doing.
Yeah, Lenny's good. He's actually in Wyoming streaming an event. You know, the pool room I built kind of went to pieces after we lost my partner. So he's not there anymore. But he's doing great. He's doing great.
All right, Victor's going to have the 5 up to the corner.
He's got one of the best transitions as far as his swing, especially with that shot. I just love watching him strike the ball like this. And this is obviously probably one of the most common shots in rotation pool right here. But I don't know anybody that's hitting it typically any cleaner than he does. I've still got people guessing on my giveaway. And I just had a notification come in. Somebody picked Yap to win this event just now. It's probably not going to work out.
I think that'd probably be not the best answer.
I don't know that anybody's chosen. I should just give you a clue. Wapatka. So if you want to win a town jersey and hat, you might rush to my post real quick.
Hurry up and run over.
And take me off. Yeah.
Scott, I have a great item I'm going to raffle off this week. I have all 64 signatures from Stage 2 on the Super
Nice.
Billiards Expo poster.
That's cool.
Yeah, gonna raffle that off later this week on the BSN page.
Nice.
All right, 6-4. Victor currently over Hubert, and his break. This could get away from Hubert quickly if Victor gets out of this rack.
Yeah, I fully agree. And I feel like his pace changed quite a bit there around the 6th, 7th game. And I'm not saying that that's affected what's happening, but he did miss the 3 to the upper right, which was a pretty big concern. And it was all over kind of slaving over the ball. And I know he's not recognizing that, but maybe caught up in the moment a little bit as well. And he has had one heck of a tournament for a GoFundMe player.
Absolutely.
And it's far from over, right? But this guy just breaks the balls so well. This is a good opportunity for Wapaka to get back to the table.
Check the overhead angle here after the break.
Yeah, it's a good line there. That he clearly cannot see the 2. I thought he might be able to get to the bottom edge of it. Even then, that would have been really good, but he's going to be forced to roll out here. You see how he kind of dragging his head down there?
Yeah.
I just like pointing out little things like that because this has always kind of gotten in his way in the past. I think it's a good moment for him. I think he's kind of got the right man due to the inexperience, not knocking Hubert, but it's cost him some events. I can assure you of that. He kind of gets down on himself a little bit from time to time, Zielinski.
Looks like Hubert might be playing the 2 up top. Brings it all the way back down.
Yeah, I mean, there is I think there's a little bit of an advantage here to jumping at this ball. He's not been the best at edging the 2. Yeah, he's gotten potentially pretty fortunate. So if he doesn't catch a piece of the 4, I believe it was, cue ball's probably going to finish over up on the right side of the table, and the 2 was open there. He did tie the 5 and 9 up. I don't know, Frank, if he can get to the 2 ball here, but historically this angle tells us he can't, but I don't know here. It's hard to tell what he can see of it. I don't know that he can make it. I think the 9 or the 5 might be covering the makeup.
Even on camera, one angle here, Scott, it's hard to tell. I have a couple different views on this shot. Camera 6. Same. It's going to be tough to see.
I'd like to be able to just Yeah, he'd like to be able to just send the 2 up table. Use the 5 and 9. Man, he's overhit it. Had to spin that a little bit, Frank. Tip of inside, you could see there.
Yeah, it's not a lot there for Victor. Sorry, Victor.
Yeah, potentially maybe just bank the 2 towards the 9. Kind of jiggle those open and use the 6. Don't have to bank it below the balls. You're almost certain you're going to get the coverage on the 6. Okay, that's what I was wondering. Yeah, that'll work. That's exactly what he had drawn up.
Hubert immediately up to the table, looking at the 2-9, making the 2 go into the 9.
Yeah, kind of reminiscent of Eklent Kaci's shot versus Gorst in the finals 2 years ago in Saudi Arabia. Going to have to cut the 2 a little bit to get the 9 tracking towards the left side, I believe. So you want to get behind the 2 a bit more than you think. Just taking a lot more time. Even, and I get it. I get the kick shot, but he's taking a lot more time than the same player I covered and watched the last couple of rounds.
I noticed this earlier when I did the AM match this morning, Scott. It seemed like when it got to a certain point in the match, like you had said too, he just gets to maybe can't make the decision or second guessing himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's both of those, right? There is a good view, though. I mean, the 9 isn't, and that's probably why he's throwing so much caution to the wind here. He's got a high percentage chance if he makes a good hit. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Gets to leave. It's a little fortunate on the leave after the shot. He went into a pretty full.
He made a great hit, though. I mean, just caught the knuckle on the inside of the side there. Yeah, and he's overrun it. I mean, he had a football field to work with there. Really had a football field to work with there. And I know he was worried about catching piece of the 7 on the way out from the top rail, but yeah, some not great signs for Wapaka right now. I really like Zielinski, but I was kind of pulling for the story, so we'll see what happens. It's going to
Yeah,
be
me
great
too.
either way, right? Zielinski wins this event. I think that he will be a changed player kind of going forward. I really do. He's the type that could go on an absolute tear. But how many opportunities will Wapaka actually get to put himself back in this spot if he is 39 years old? And maybe that's part of what he's thinking now, right? And I get it.
Hey everybody, I'm Shane Van Boning here. I'm watching Billiards Sport Network.
All right, 7-4.
I am in bits right now. Derek Adams goes to my page and says, Hubert Wapatka. So a late pick, but if you were the first one to pick it, you will win first place. We'll see. Cue ball finishing low once again. Shake of the head. And it's something, in their defense as well. They're at the end of the road, right? I'm sure they're pretty fatigued mentally, which will fatigue you physically.
Wichter's definitely have to be when he was playing in the other event this week and then flew here and just barely made it here for the start of this event.
He has not had a lot of success at edging the ball or coming off the thin edge of the one. So what I'm saying there is that's probably why he's not real big on just rolling out somewhere towards the 5 or where he could come off the right side of the one. But I think that's the play. Or even, if you want, you can just shoot the 3 away and kind of leave the cue ball low. But the 2 is there. I think you've just got to kind of leave him flat where you have to edge off the right side of the 1 and come down behind the 6. You don't really want to leave the cue ball out in open space like that, but this is what he's going to do. He has not been even good at this so far. And I don't know that I would give this back, even though his track record has been subpar. 6 is a massive ball coming off the right side of the 1 here. 3 rails into the bottom rail. You could play it a different way. You could chip the 1 up towards the 7 and use the 8 and 5 as well, but I'd like to ensure the distance. Okay, and that's what he's going to choose to do, I guess, unless he's coming all the way down. Yeah, this is no good. His timing is off, I believe. I thought he could see the whole ball. Excuse me. Definitely can see a piece of it. There was nothing wrong with the decision, though. Looking at it afterwards, I think there's actually probably higher percentage than the shot I was talking about. Yeah, and he did give him the whole ball, Frank, so no good.
Yeah, one out in the open 2. return safe here, Scott? Maybe cut the 1 to the right rail, use the 9 and 4 as the blockers?
Yeah, nothing wrong with it, unless you can maybe swerve the 1 past the 9 and use and really kind of butter up behind the 2. That's a little thin, I think. So he's probably going to look at doing what you just talked about. Could bank the 1 back up table as well. Come down in behind the 2. He's going to go off the left edge. That would be a bit unlucky if he gives him the top piece, the 1. Yeah, and I believe this ball goes. Camera number 6 will tell us. Yeah, plenty of room. It's time. Get that blood flowing. Definitely some indecision in his movements and body language, or lack of confidence thereof. Maybe just caught up in a moment. Understandable. He is yet to take a break. Has he taken a break yet in the finals here?
So they have the rule, Scott. Whoever takes the break first, both players, that's the break for the match.
Right. Has Wapaka taken his break? Do you know?
No.
Or the other guy, or Zielinski? Okay, I was just curious.
No, I'm sorry. No, Wapaka did take his break, yes.
Okay, he did. Okay.
Yeah, he initiated the break.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. These matches are kind of running together for me. But I was thinking, this would be a good time after this rack, no matter what, to maybe kind of regroup here, analyze what's happening. He made a great hit on the 1, though. But once again, right, like you just see, and I don't want to harp on it. I know I'm probably driving you all crazy, but you just see that his pace is just dramatically slowed down from the player that we saw last match and the player that we saw in the beginning of this match. Nice hit. Oftentimes, you've just got to kind of allow your body to find that comfort, right? Don't fight it. If you start to feel like things are coming together and that you can flow a bit more, don't fight it. Don't allow yourself to overthink and kind of take control that way. And I was a quick player playing rotation when I was young, very quick. But when in tournaments, I would start out slow, but I would do my best to just allow myself, once I started feeling good, allow myself to just carry into that rhythm. I never wanted to start out quick because I didn't feel comfortable. I think that's the same for most. You don't want to force either way. if he can get out to the middle here, is he catching a piece of the 9 if he cuts the 4 to the lower right? If he can get out to the middle, you'd think that he can get to the left side of the table. Yeah, he's going to catch a piece of the 9 if he can make the 4. He's acting like he can make the 4. The overhead sure tells me a different story. One at the bank. Okay. It's not easy. In the finals of a big event, we've seen it a million times. That's why I do credit to the elite players that continue to do it. It's very impressive.
Yeah, it's a bit of a grind.
Yeah, that's the best. I've seen him hit that shot. Excellent.
Looks like he can thin the 4, but incredibly. No, guess not. If he's mirroring the rail.
Yeah, pretty good effort, to be honest. You know the cue ball is going to lengthen out or bend a little bit off that long rail.
All right, Victor trying to get out from here. Get himself 8 racks, which would make him only need 2 more.
You overrun this?
Tournament.
Sorry, Frank. It felt like he overran that a little bit, make things just a bit interesting.
All right, Victor out to excuse me, Victor out to the 6 ball. Gonna play the 6 in the bottom corner. He's gonna look to come 1, maybe even 2 rails to get shape here on the 7 ball. Only requires the 1. I'll play the 7 up to the top right corner. Ball does go to the top left. He's just going to thin the 8 a little bit and just stun to the left. All right, and Victor Zielinski. Gonna fire this 9 down. That's going to give him 8. He needs 2 more here to win the tournament. Guys, check out check out Titleist Chalk by Dr. V's Custom Shop. Pick up your Titleist Chalk at JSQ Sales, authorized retailer of Billiard Sports Network and authorized dealer for Dr. V's Custom Shop. All right, 8-4 going into rack 13.
Yeah, and it's, you know, I don't care how you do it. A win is a win, and he has played great. From what I see, most of this event, he's broke very well. And this would be huge for him to win this event. We've seen much smaller events do a lot for players as far as catapult them forward. Here's another look at the break. The 2's going to finish high. 1 rifling into the side. Yeah, I think you can just basically kind of knock the 2 down, maybe past the 5 with a little bit of a high outside ball. Try and tickle up behind the 3. Boy, the overhead tells me you can't. I'm a little. I think that's a little misleading. I feel like he can get to at least the left half of the 2 here. You can get that main view. Thank you, Frank.
You got it, buddy.
Yeah, he's afraid to roll it with a high ball. So this can get away from you a little bit. Oh, never mind. He misled me. I just can't believe he aimed low and drug it versus a high ball. You're not going to get the pace out of the 2 that way. The high ball, it's going to release onto the object ball, which carries more speed. The object ball will often take off much quicker. Yeah, once again, just taking a lot of time on something that's pretty straightforward here. You can chip the 2 just in front of the right side, go back in behind the 8 and 3. You can cross the face of the 2 and use the 5. If you want to be aggressive, you could probably cut it down to the lower right or towards the side. It's got so many options. I just feel like the defensive play behind the 3 and 8 are pretty straightforward.
Scott, as somebody like you, who I know has shot hundreds of thousands of balls, does it ever happen when you have too many options? It's just like, what do I do?
Yeah, but it's not just this moment, right? This is, you can kind of feel, but sure, that can happen, to answer your question. But you can just kind of feel that this has been coming on since game 5, 6, 7. It's really started to come on for him. And you see that things just kind of unraveling. It's understandable. I'm definitely not ripping on him or picking on him. I'm just pointing out why this is probably happening. First and foremost is that he's probably not been in this position before, and it's a real position. And it's not your talent that's getting in the way. It's the mind.
Yeah, I agree.
And I've kind of touched on this. I think this is probably best case scenario for Zielinski if he does get through this match with this finals. I believe that we'll see a lot of stress roll off of Victor's shoulders. He does get the W. Really best case scenario. And once again, just I know that Hubert isn't this slow of player typically, or this indecisive or inconfident. That's well done. You just kind of wish at times you could go out there and whisper in her ear.
Shoot this ball.
Yeah, and just pick the pace up a little bit. Don't let things get to you. Kind of block out those mental demons.
Wow, airborne into the one, ginned it down to the corner. So nice, we have to see it twice.
Yeah, what a hit right here. It's going to open the door. He can be offensive or defensive. There's nothing wrong with going to the upper right. He likes the left. Wow, looks really steep to the left, but maybe I'm misled again. Watch out.
Watch the corner. Five balls away for Victor to get to the hill, Scott.
Yeah, what a great strike there. I guess he just kind of took his chances, felt like it was so thin that he was going to avoid this lower left corner.
Six ball, excuse me. 6 ball on the side leads the cue right down for the 7.
Yeah, looking good. You can see the pace starting to pick up a little bit as well. All right, didn't really want to finish there. It's doable. Oh, is he looking short side to the 9 here? I feel like he can get above the 9, back and forth. Just a flat ball, maybe a touch of inside. Yeah, no problem.
And Victor's going to get to the hill first. Make the score 9-4. He needs one more to secure his win here at this tournament.
Yeah, don't believe or don't think for a second it was an accident that Wapaka got here, right? I think he's kind of like a deer in headlights, maybe in this moment, but I believe every second that he deserves to be in this position from what I've seen prior this week. This has been his nemesis, really, is the break shot. It's eluded him, and even when he's been successful making a ball, it's it's been tough, and his spreads are just never great. Although he's got the ball down, the 4 is tough, the 8. The spreads are just not where he wants them to be. It's really the best look he's kind of had that I can recall in this match.
Hit that pretty well. Gets the cue around the table for the 3. Little bit of an overshot on that ball. Hubert plays the 3 into the corner, draws the cue over for the 4.
Yeah, not much more he could do there. Now it's just a question of, could he sneak in, kind of trickle in behind the 8? That would be ideal. If not, then he's got to come in behind the 9 and just use the 4 to the back of the 8. And that works. Yeah, believe it or not, I think a couple of good things can happen here from a good hit. I don't see any reason to like fram this. He might. Yeah, he did. I think that's kind of like where he lost a little bit of control. He's going to be forced to take the 4 to the upper right here. Can he extend this set just a little bit longer? This might look easy, but you never know. Yeah, this is weak at best. It's just kind of been the story. You know, the first few games, he looked real fluid. Looked like the player we watched the set prior. But I feel like something's coming here. And it's probably not going to be good for the GoFundMe great. But I'm pulling for him. Can't afford to get way past this left side, so really all the focus goes into just burying the 5. Just seems very indecisive, pretty nervy. And there you have it. It's just kind of compiled on him throughout the match. It's gotten a little bit worse over time. What a great story. The GoFundMe account to get him over here for this specific event is insane. He's made the finals. There was nothing to shake your head at there. But I think it's Victor's time. And it's going to be fun to see what happens to him going forward. This is a big, big moment for him. He has been so close on so many occasions. And it's really up to him in the future. But I think that this gets the monkey off the back.
All right, Victor Zielinski has 2 balls left here to win this tournament. Little tough on a 9, but I think he's going to be all right. I'm 25 years old. Take it down, big guy. Let's see it. 9 ball in the corner for the win. Victor Zielinski is your 2026 Super Billiards Expo champion. Scott, thank you for joining us this week. I appreciate all of your help, as always.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's a very big moment for Victor. We've watched him get close for so long, and I am very excited to see his future. Congratulations to Hubert Wapopko, the GoFundMe great. Thank you all.
Thank you all for watching this week. Support BSN. Like, share, subscribe. We try to do everything we can for free. I always make the comment, I pay so you don't have to. I want my fans to enjoy this. Again, thank you to Scott Freezer Frost, Jeremy Jones, Brett Garson for jumping in this week. Thank you to Matchroom Pool, of course, for letting BSN stream this event, and the Alan Hopkins production crew. My name is Frank Miletti, also known as the Cue Ball from the Pool Hall. I'm going to go interview Victor. We're going to leave this roll here for a little bit so you can see the trophy presentation he has in his hands there. Again, thank you to Scott and all the guys from Matchroom, Adam, Emily, Jack. They were all here this week. And, of course, thank you to the fans for hanging with me all week while we commentated such a great event. Thank you all, guys. See you later.